host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Wolo.
Look up on the wall. There on the floor.
Good Tuesday morning. Nice to have you aboard. We had home run derby drama, a long shot, a Cardinal. Jordan Walker, a winner. Crazy stuff. Darian Newsom, just off the top of your head, do you know how much Jordan Walker is making this year as a St. Louis Cardinal?
Absolutely. Would you like me to spoil it?
No, say it.
$800,000.
$800,000. Here's a guy that was sent down to the minors last year to retool. His swing had just not really been major league. He was a prospect who was disappointing. Came down here, did not complain, worked through it, got an $800,000 contract this year. Yesterday, in unbelievable dramatic fashion, he hit 6 home runs in a row at the end amongst boos in Philadelphia because favorite son, and the guy I was pulling for because he's an ex-Cub, Kyle Schwarber, looked like he was going to win the home run derby at home. Every swing, there were boos when Jordan Walker hit the ball out of the ballpark. He ended up with, 12 home runs in the final stage to get the 11 that Schwarber had that looked like an impossible feat. He won. And Darian Newsom, do you know how much he won last night?
Absolutely. You want me to spoil it?
I want you to spoil it.
$1 million.
$1 million smackers for winning the home run derby. You know, everybody who participated got $150,000. That was nice enticement, I guess. You know, when you're making as much money as them. What's $150,000? That's like, yeah, we'll give you, like if it's you or me, we'll give you $100 to come.
That's taxes for most of those
Yeah,
guys.
well, it's not even close to the whole total tax bill you're going to have to pay, but it's nice. But this guy makes more money in one night and becomes a hero because most people were saying last night this was the best home run derby they've ever had. First off, I got a complaint. I couldn't find the darn thing till later.
Correct. Yeah. Finding it was an issue.
It was on Netflix. Okay. So I'm going through everything. I'm going through ESPN. Then I'm going, okay, maybe it's on ABC. Oh, it's not on ABC. What? Could it be on Fox? I go to Fox. Well, then I'm thinking FS1. Then I go,
thought
you know
TBS.
Then I went TBS. That's where I went next. So you know what I had to do? This is the beauty of technology today. You know what I did? I talked into my channel changer and I said, where's the home run derby for the All-Star game? And it said Netflix. Thank goodness I have Netflix. What if you don't have Netflix? You would have missed what Barry Bonds said was the greatest home run derby ever. Holy smokes. The thing I like most about it, because this all new, they're paying these guys this kind of money, $1 million for the winner. Walker gets more money in the 2-3 hours that he spent in Philly at the All-Star Game Home Run Derby than he's going to make all year. And you know what? How many major leaguers who are prospects like this guy, who is an all-star, make $800,000? Nobody. Schwarber didn't need the money. By the way, Schwarber's just becoming such a legend in Philly.
He is. He's having an awesome second stint. But I got a question for you. Did you like the clock being removed and going back to outs?
Yeah.
I did too. That's what we grew up watching. A swing is an out.
It seems more equal to me. Yeah, I did like that better. I like the format better, but I got to be honest with you. I mean, I made myself watch it because I took all that time to find it. And I did like the Schwarber and all the boos, like they were booing everybody except for Harper and for Kyle. So the crowd made it so interesting. And you got to admit, I mean, Walker and Schwarber were putting on a show, for gosh sakes. And there was a lot of drama. I mean, Harper could have been the guy from Philly that was in. He had to beat his teammate, and he missed the last 2 swings, or he would have been in there. I thought it was grand fun. The booing with Wilson Contreras was funny. I mean, and then it continued with Walker. It was really a good event for sure. John Morant spoke to the media in Vegas. I thought he said all the right things. I don't know where your head is at on that. I mean, what can he say? I really enjoyed Memphis. I've changed. I've grown up. You're going to see a new Ja.
He says he's been working in the gym. He knows he has to work on his shot.
He's working on in the gym. He mentioned, you haven't seen me do anything silly like touting guns and waving them on Instagram in the last couple of years. He cleaned up his behavior is what he's alluded to. He didn't quite say it in that language, but that's what he meant. And
and getting more in tune with nature. He says he's getting more in tune with nature, kayak.
And which is perfect for him because that's the place to live. I mean, if you've ever been to Portland, Oregon, you know how cool it is. You go up the Columbia River. You don't have to go far out of town, and you're in nature. Seattle's kind of the same way with the San Juan Islands and everything else. It's a beautiful part of the country. There's no question about it. And Ja, if you can avoid the homeless people, will really enjoy Portland, Oregon. I think it, in its heyday. Back when I first visited in the 70s, it was beautiful. I mean, it was
it the
smaller.
nickname the Rose City?
Yeah. And in fact, where they play used to be, when it first opened, it was called the Rose Garden. It's a gorgeous place. It really is. It was interesting when he asked about, how he's changed and what's going to be different about him. And I don't know who asked the question, but somebody did point blank, and he said, "You'll see." So we'll see. I do wish him the best. The first 2 or 3 years when he was here before the misbehavior, he was a joy. He was truly a joy. So I hope he gets to that place. Cedric Howard was all rookie NBA. He didn't have to play. I don't know if the Grizz brass said we'd like for you to be involved in Summer League this year, or they want to win Summer League, or let's see how you and Boozer can play together. But Cedric Howard was absolutely terrible last night. I mean, horrible. Boozer was pretty good. They're playing Hendrick. They're playing all these guys that looked like they wanted to win the league, the Summer League in Vegas. They did not play well last night at all. Their shooting from three was very disappointing. In particular,
I actually thought you were beating down the tree of the amazing block Howard had, that 2-hand block. It was absolutely phenomenal. It's been the play of the tournament for me so far.
Yeah. Do you see all the threes that he missed that were wide open? Do you see how the defense was on lobs inside with him and Boozer in there? I mean, I was not encouraged by last night. Now, I'm not saying this isn't, but Boozer's numbers were good, and really, some of those lobs occurred with Hendricks in. And the way I see it, Hendricks is not going to be a major player, if any kind of playing time at all with the Grizz this year. So, but I did not, Coward, I think, was put on because I think they really kind of want to win this Summer League. And to me, Coward had a bad night last night. The announcer was pretty redundant. Every time he was all rookie this year. And then he would make a mistake or miss a shot.
They were drinking the Kool-Aid last night.
They didn't have much good to say about it, so they had to keep referring to the fact that he was so good last year in the real league. I suspect he will, but he was way off last night, that's all. And we got lots to talk about. Steve Ehret's going to join us because the SEC meetings are coming up this next week. I know our own Brett Norsworthy will be there. And the Big 12 meetings were last week, so we're going to pick the brain of the big cheese and the head honcho of the AutoZone Liberty Bell, Steve Ehrhardt, in just a couple of seconds here. Matt O'Sullivan on the, I hope, spectacular semifinals of the World Cup. Tonight, it's France and Spain, then England and Argentina tomorrow. We'll talk about the disappointment of the USA. Matto at about 10:30. And then we end our Tuesdays, as always, with Jason Munz. And we'll talk about a good guy having a good thing happen to him. I happen to be a big fan of Tubby Smith. I know. End of his career here wasn't exactly what folks wanted. If you looked at his record, it wasn't completely terrible, but he made some mistakes, and he talked about recruiting. And that was, if you're gonna everybody's got weaknesses, right? Everybody's got a flaw or two in them. And if you look at Tubby, he was not the greatest recruiter of all time. He did win a lot of ball games. Tubby Smith ended up winning 642 games. He coached at 7 schools. 5 of them made the NCAA tournament.
Hall of Fame status solidified before he became a Tiger, I think, fair to say.
Yes, but he got into the Hall of Fame, so we'll talk with Muncie about that to end our day. As I sit here in the Family Leisure Studio, a reminder to all of you, the Ultimate Pool Party still going on. You can get the above-ground pools. That's where they're really experts, right? They've been doing that for 100 years. You can get them for under $4,000. What they're doing new is in-ground pools, state-of-the-art, and I think that's the way to go. Now, they got a good price on them, too. This is the best of the best, and it's under $50,000. All in stock patio furniture at this Ultimate Pool Party, priced to move. They've been doing it a while, so get in there while you can. Mention us, and you will get $200 off the purchase of your pool or a spa. $200 off. Just say Sports 56, and you are in. And just a quick reminder, we have a very important event happening later this year. It's the Walk to End Alzheimer's. It's going to take place on Saturday, November the 7th. I'm giving you big leeway on this, but I want everybody to come to Shelby Farms Park on the 7th to walk. You can register at alz.org/Memphis Walk. I just got to say, there have been recently some major medical advancements. Now is the time to get involved in the fight against Alzheimer's. It really is a difference-making time. Come on board. We're getting closer and closer medically to figuring out the problem, and you can start by walking on November the 7th. The Tigers, I think, are playing on Thursday or Friday, so that is wide open that Saturday. It's in the morning. You won't miss any football. Mark it down, November the 7th, to Walk for Alzheimer's. I'll be reminding you periodically throughout the next few months. In the meantime, let's head cross town down Ridgeway to where the AutoZone Liberty Bowl headquarters are, the Big Cheese, the head honcho. That's Steve Earhart joins us now. He was at Big 12 meetings last week. He will be at SEC meetings this coming week. So, what did you learn at the Big 12? What do you think's going to happen at the SEC? Give me a breakdown of where we are right now, Mr. E.
Well, the Big 12 is certainly with its recent expansions, it's become a bigger time deal than it used to be. And they say the SEC is the big daddy of all. In fact, I just got a notice this morning from the SEC and said they were touting about how this is the first time the city of Tampa and the state of Florida have hosted the SEC's preseason media extravaganza. And they moved it around the last 3 years. They've been in Dallas, Nashville, and Atlanta, and now it's like a moving circus with, literally 1,000 people there attending it. And the Big 12 has much expanded too. They had many hundreds of folks, and actually what was the biggest surprise was the number of players that each university brought to be interviewed. They all had on their uniforms, and my guess is, and I don't know this for sure, but they were fulfilling some of their NIL media obligations. The players are supposed to use their their media presence to get paid, and so instead of just 2 players per university, some of the universities had 5 and 6 players there. So that was a new deal. But the Big 12, they've one of their big announcements was about the Monster Energy drink sponsorship, which is $20 million. Now, some of the people were panning that and saying, well, that was short-sighted, but actually they're just integrating the Monster beverage or the Monster Energy drink emblem into their Big 12 emblem, which is sewed on the jersey. So the universities still have the right to put their own patch. For example, I know University of Memphis is not in the Big 12, but University of Memphis they could have a FedEx patch separately from the Monster Big 12
well, if the
patch.
Big 12 wanted, they could take Memphis and get a Big 12 patch for the whole league.
There you go.
I believe they were offering that.
Yeah, I set you up for that, David. You just came right through and bashed a home run. You could have been in home run derby last night, but no. So that was a big news there, and then also a couple of stories that affect Memphis. I think I shared this with you when the head coach Morgan Scally of Utah, came up to me and said, "You remember I was the most valuable player in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl when he was here, when Urban Meyer was the head coach and Dan Mullen was the offensive coordinator, and he was their top defensive back, and now he's the head coach." And so that was a nice reminder. And then also, maybe some of your listeners will know Eric Morris, the new head coach at Oklahoma State, who was the head coach last year at North Texas. He came up to me and said, I was in Memphis last week, and I drove by the stadium to take a look at the progress. And I said, well, what were you in Memphis? So I got a lot of connections to Memphis. I got married here in Memphis, and my wife's family are cotton farmers over across the river in the Arkansas, close by the river. So, I told him, well, that's a perfect entree to you Oklahoma State Cowboys coming back to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl this year. But he's a bright young guy, and he took that great Drew Mestamaker, the quarterback. I know, David, I think you followed him last year when he was lighting it up there at North Texas. But those were interesting comments. But I think the biggest news was the big battle between Texas Tech and the conference, and it's pretty heated there because of the whole Sorsby deal. The quarterback that signed for big money at Texas Tech.
I believe that the commissioner refused to talk about that. Did he not?
That's exactly right, and so that was why there was such a buzz around it and some pretty heated arguments off the dais. When you're right, when he was giving his opening speech, he would not talk about it at all because that got very complex. With the state of Texas Attorney General jumping on one side, and then the attorneys generals from other states like Oklahoma fired back, and other ads were saying, "Hey, this guy's got to be out." And eventually, he did step aside, but he thought he was going to get taken in the NFL supplemental draft. But the NFL said no way either. So now, and the Canadian League said no, and so I think now he's out twisting in the wind at least for a year.
Yeah,
but
he is.
Hopefully the young man will get straightened out. And again, I know with so much advertising and it's so easy to get involved with bet a dollar or two here and there. So hopefully we can get that word out. So maybe he was a kind of a sacrificial guy to get the word out to all young, and even down at the high school level. Don't be betting a buck here on a team here, and it's so easy now. But stay away from. So the message is don't bet at all. They say, well, just don't bet on your own team. Now, just stay away from it. It's a no-win situation anyway. But that was kind of the nexus of the Big 12. But people ask me, well, do you think they're going to expand? And unfortunately, I think I didn't pick up any vibrations. I think they're pretty happy with their makeup right now, and I don't see that they're going to be thinking about expansion. They're more concerned about federal legislation and making the ends meet and all the financial challenges that college football has going on right now.
Do you think the SEC meetings, which have always been a coach, the head coach, and then two star players, do you think they will expand that for NIL reasons? And this one is in Tampa, right? They've moved the SEC meeting
exactly
to Tampa?
To Tampa, exactly right now.
They're making Brett Norsworthy travel a long way now.
Well, I just got the list of attendees of the players from each school. In fact, if you want to ask about it in school, but you know how the SEC does stuff. Everything is buttoned up and tied up. So they have set a limit and a requirement. So each school is bringing 3 players to media days. So
okay.
there's no, like the Big 12, some of them had 3, some of them had 6. But if you got if you want to ask, I've got the list of all 3. And guess who one of the 3 players coming from Arkansas is? Oh,
it's a former Tiger. I'm betting on that.
You're right. Here, the 3 players that are coming to represent Arkansas are Caden Kittler, an offensive lineman, Quincy Rhodes, a defensive end, and Sutton Smith, running back from Arkansas. So, and let's see, some of your listeners
I hope Sutton Smith has a great year, and I hope he stays healthy for a whole year.
Okay. Well, I think he's got a great opportunity to have a great career. It's unfortunate the way that whether it was him or his agent or his family, but the stuff they pulled off, I'm sure all Memphis fans are not concerned, but sad about what happened last year with the bowl game where he was there at practice all all week, and then
No, he got
decided
told
not to play.
right before kickoff. Somebody said, "Don't get hurt, don't do it."
Yeah,
Who knows?
it's bad, but yeah.
It could have been the new coaching staff at Arkansas, to be honest with you.
that could, yeah, maybe you're right. Well, and with also, I'm sure I'll see Ryan Silverfield down there. And then for your old Miss fans, they're bringing that Trinidad Chambliss, the quarterback who's been in the middle of a lot of controversy about how many years do you get to play and that kind of thing. But yeah, it'll be.
You got to have a judge in your state that goes along with it. It's all that it takes.
I noticed how the NCAA in some recent case said, well, they were objecting because one of the judges had gone to that school, and they said, well, this was like somehow a secret, but everybody that appears in front of a judge, they know what law school they went to, so it's no big secret, and it's hard to do when you have a like in Memphis, they have a great law school here in Memphis. Jim Strickland is the former mayor of Memphis, is the dean of the law school, and I guarantee if you needed a judge, there's a lot of judges that have the University of Memphis ties. But it's fortunate. But yeah, the SEC next week. I don't think there'll be any breaking news other than each coach will talk about all the players and everything. But I think there'll be a lot of talk about the federal legislation because that's heating up. And as you know, the Big Ten and the SEC, they're not on board with the legislation.
That legislation is known as the Protect College Sports Bill or something of that nature. And there's a lot of pluses to it. The negative is that there can be no movement of any conference members, including big power, any movement in the Power Four, and no movement in Group of Six either. So you couldn't have a Group of Six team move up, which would mean Memphis would not have the ability to join the Big 12 or the ACC, the two most likely landing spots that they could get in.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and
that's not going to pass, is it?
I don't think so, although there's a lot of push in, and there's some good things within the bill because what they're trying to do, some of the schools protecting Olympic sports, women's sports, and so on. I saw a debate the other day about, with some of the people pushing back, well, this is, just a problem of the universities because they're the ones that are outspending themselves. But I think the point that we have, and we shouldn't forget, is that colleges are not just businesses. I mean, they are basically taking care of a lot of sports and opportunities for athletes, men and women, that don't make any money. That's not a business. For example, let's take any university, and if they're sponsoring, say, 15 sports, maybe 2 of them bring any revenue at all. Basketball and football, maybe women's basketball, but most of those sports, I mean, golf and tennis, they're not bringing in revenue. It's costing the university to give scholarships and to have opportunities for those players. So when they make the argument, well, all businesses, it's their own fault for spending the money, but they're trying to be, an academic institution, and sometimes that line gets blurred, and now we're in, big time business there with the revenue sports. But so yeah, that's why this legislation is so difficult to match up. And what some of the people said, well, we don't want the big guys, meaning the SEC and the Big Ten, to get any bigger and dominate the smaller. So, but yet on the other hand, a school like the University of Memphis, who aspires to get into one of the Power Four, it goes against their grain. So I don't think it's going to pass, but there's a lot of debate, and this session is getting closer to the end of their term here this year. So, but there's a lot of debate about it. But the universities are in such dire straits financially, and as I say, whether they're spending too much money or that the system causes them to do it. But it's a debacle out there right now with so many universities in the hole.
We'll be talking more and more about this when your regular spot on our lineup begins in just a couple of weeks. Thank you, Steve.
The American Conference is having their media days too. So Memphis and Coach Huff will be down actually in St. Petersburg,
right across the
Thursday
bridge,
and Friday next week too. So interesting, all these events coming on now.
Yep, it should be quite a bit of fun. Thank you. We'll talk soon.
Okay.
I appreciate you.
Thank you, David.
That's Steve Earhart, the Big Cheese head honcho from the AutoZone Libertyville. And a reminder, SEC meetings are next week, and our own Brett Norsworthy Stats will be in Tampa, and I'm sure he'll help us get a guest or two. Ron Higgins, by the way, is off today because of illness. I'm not sure if he's going down there or not. Craig Way, the voice of Texas, will be there. We'll try to get him on one of those time slots. In the meantime, I'll let you know, we are headed to the Bahamas. That's where our friend Matt O'Sullivan is. We're going to talk World Cup in a minute. Brought to you in part by Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. Ken knows you're talking about a major step here. You're building your dream home. You need land? He's got it. Maybe you've got land. It's been in your family forever. Finally, the time is right for you to build this dream home, and you're not sure how to utilize the land. That's where Ken Garland and his son William, third generation, about 80 years of experience in the business of building dream homes in this market, come in. Go to kengarland.com. You'll see what I'm talking about, and then call him. He's an interesting guy, gets right to the point, knows everything about the business. He can guide you. And I'll tell you, he sees the little details and the big picture all at once. He's special, and you're building something special. So please check it out with him. All you got to do is call Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. We take the break. When we come back, it's World Cup time with Matto.
Did you miss your favorite Sports 56 show? No! Check out the podcast, broken down hourly at sports56whbq.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to like and subscribe. Never miss any Sports 56 show again with our podcasts available daily from Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
For those that watch the stock market, the real estate market also has its watchers, like me, Sheldon Rosengarten, with Mark's Bensdorf Realtors. Right now, I'm seeing the listing inventory increasing and the contracts and closings not keeping up, which puts us in what is labeled as a buyer's market. That is why it is extremely critical that you obtain the best advice and expertise when you're considering the sale of your home. And that is what I do. To make your home a sweet spot, where buyers are drawn to you like bees to honey, talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers, but make sure I am one of them. Find out about my highly successful strategic marketing program that can help you sell your home quicker at a better price. Remember what people often say, when you want the job done, call Sheldon. Call me at 483-0546 or email me at memphisrelocate.com. That's right, relocate is in my name. memphisrelocate.com or 483-0546.
Chris Price here with Metro Builders Roofing and Restoration. We've seen days, even what seems like weeks of soaking rain, damaging hail, and even flooding. So today, do one simple thing. Look up. If you see a water stain, bubbling paint, or discoloration on your ceiling, don't ignore it. What starts as a small roof leak can quickly become mold, turning a minor problem into a major expense. At Metro Builders Memphis, our professionals will inspect your roof, assess any storm damage, help mitigate further damage. We'll measure your roof from outer space and guide you through the repair or replacement process with an estimate on site with multiple options at that. Don't let them tell you your roof needs to be replaced when all it may need is some love. We'll give you an honest assessment so you can make the right decision for your home and family. At Metro Builders Memphis, call me, 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717, or simply book your appointment online at metrobuildersmemphis.com.
You know that feeling when something is supposed to be complicated and then it's not? That's the Dobbs Brothers way. For your new Chevrolet, there's no games, no runaround, no surprises. Just straight answers from people who actually mean them. Buying a car shouldn't feel like a battle. And at Dobbs Brothers Chevrolet, it doesn't. Trust, transparency, and driving our community forward. That's the Dobbs Brothers way. Shop Dobbs Brothers Chevrolet of Bartlett today.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We are heading to paradise. We're going to the Bahamas. Our friend, the soccer rocker, Matt O'Sullivan, joins us now. We got to start with the USA. The disappointment. Pulisic didn't seem to be 100%. 11 turnovers. Couldn't get the ball to Balogun. Just a disaster, a 4-1 loss to Belgium. They didn't get to the round of 16. Is this disappointment? Was this what you thought would happen? Good morning, Matto.
Good morning. And actually, I'm not in the Bahamas, but I am in the wonderful St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands.
Oh, it's the U.S. Virgin Islands. I see.
There you go.
How far are the Bahamas from there? Just for my own sense of geography.
600 to 800 miles.
Oh, okay.
Just a small boat trip. But the U.S. of A. did not do well. I'm going to blame it all on the dismissal of the red card on Balogun, because I'm going to tell you what happened. That happened on July 1st. And he got red carded with about 20 some odd minutes to go in the game. Okay, at that point, as soon as that happened, they knew that they were not going to have flow. So immediately, as soon as that game was over, the coaches went in, decided, okay, what are we going to do for the next game? We got to replace them. They spent the next 3 days with the team focusing on that. And then all of a sudden, the day before their match against Belgium, he gets special dispensation from the committee, but the committee did not make the decision. There's an 18-man FIFA disciplinary committee. The head of the committee made the ruling by himself.
So,
very strange.
Yeah, I think the reversal was a precedent. There's no doubt about that. But the team played terribly.
They played terribly.
I've got a hard time believing that was just because they practiced without Balogun. No, thinking he wasn't going to play.
Everything turned when Balogun got to play, but then Belgium said they were going to protest, and then there's everybody, they trained for 3 days with somebody else up front, Pepe or whatever, a new formation or whatever the coaches decided to do. Then all of a sudden it's, we're going to go back the other way. But all of that, we have a super dismissal. And I'm going to tell you what, it doesn't take much. And that coupled with, I'll tell you what the Belgium coach did, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I was at the USA-Belgium game in March,
right,
which was a friendly, quote-unquote. And that game, the U.S. played right neck and neck with them the whole first half. And actually the United States was ahead 1-0. Okay? Lots of changes happened in the second half. But what the Belgium coach did the second half was he's got some really athletic backups, super fast, super athletic. That's who he started in the game against the United States. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
De Bruyne did not see the field. One of the best players, top, 20 players in the world.
Right.
Okay? He didn't even see the field because the coach totally changed his tactics. Now, the tactics kicked the USA's butt, and because all of a sudden the game was it's always moving fast, but it was even going on super speed. And you couple everything with, nobody played well. Virtually almost nobody played well.
I agree with that. Mike DeCourcy, who's covered the sport for the Sporting News for 45 years, or other entities as well, he said, and he doesn't use this term very often, he thought the USA choked, that they were not ready for the moment. You buy any of that? Because the whole team was so bad. Des was incredibly poor. I don't know what the health was like of Pulisic, but, he had all 11 turnovers. He was awful in that game.
Well, he had 11 turnovers before he got hurt. Then he got hurt. So, but also realize that he's in a position of taking risks. He has to take risks. And he's going to lose the ball. So, some of them are okay, but 11 is a lot. And nothing, but that goes couples with maybe somebody didn't make the right run, and Christian thought he could go here and play a ball there, but then the guy doesn't make a run, and then he gets double teamed. Nothing was working in the world of, it's hard to say, an off day. Everybody was bad. But see, that's why I go back to the whole Balogun thing, because there's no good reason for everybody having a bad day. It's possible that, okay, Christian choked. Well, you know what? There's 10 other guys on the field.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was bad.
In the world of
no doubt about it.
But I will tell you what, we're down to 4. So, what does that make? 44 teams that are done?
Yeah. And maybe maybe more. They may expand. We'll get into that in a second. Pochettino, what happens with the coach here? There was a lot of talk about, he changed everything. This was before the loss. The Premier League's going to want him. There's no way you're going to keep him. And now there's not been any announcement. Is there any chance you think Pochettino sticks around?
I don't think so, because I just think coaching a national team is so much different than coaching a club team. It's just a much, much different environment. You get the players for a little bit at a time, and then they go away, and then you get them for a week or two, then they go away for a month or two, and it's just a different environment. I'm not sure that he did it, and it'll be like, okay, I did it. I don't know that I want to spend the next 4 years waiting for the next World Cup.
Yeah, I could see
he's going to have plenty of opportunities in Europe, and I'm sure he's already talked to a lot of people. And he may take 6 months off. And I mean, think about it this way: you know how many World Cup coaches have already gotten fired and or quit their jobs?
No, how many?
I don't know exactly, but I'm going to guess that it's in the 30s.
Huh, wow. Okay.
There's only a couple coaches. I know the Canadian coach Jesse Marsh. He got an extension before the World Cup, so I know he's in for the next round. But after that, very few are it's almost like they lose and it's time for a new coach.
I wonder. I wonder what direction they would go with that. Back to an American coach.
You know what? I'm not sure. Boy, oh boy, that it's tough pickings, and they tried the super, high-ranking foreign coach, and that's not a bad way to go. But you still got to get the right person that can deal with the national team. If you notice, I mean, a lot of them are coaches that have done clubs for 30 or 40 years. A lot of them are a little older, and they're kind of saying, okay, this is cool, I'll take this, and do it for a cycle or two. It's hard to get a young up and coming coach to basically, give up the club world, so to speak.
Yeah. All right, we got 2 good afternoons now of football.
Boy.
We got France and Spain today, England and Argentina tomorrow. France the favorite today against Spain. What's going to happen?
Oh boy, France has so much firepower. But today they go against a team unlike any team that France has not lost yet in this World Cup.
Right.
They have not tied. They do nothing but win games. And most of them have been relatively easy. But I think Spain is going to give them a tough go, because Spain is incredibly organized. Spain doesn't have the superstar. They can strike from a lot of different places, and they're incredibly organized, which you have to be to stop France. I'm going to go Spain in overtime.
Wow. That's a bold statement. All right. Then we've got England and Argentina and Messi tomorrow. And believe it or not, the slight favorite here are the English, which I don't see.
Well, here's an interesting note to start with. How many times has Messi played against England?
I don't know.
In his 205 caps?
I don't know.
0.
Mm.
He's never played against England in his 205 caps. And Argentina has been living by, what they've won the last 3 games? An overtime game against Cape Verde, an added time game in the 32, and then overtime against Switzerland. That's how Argentina's gotten here. That's why they're not favored. And what is it, by a third of a goal or whatever? I don't know what the line is, but I think England's going to take Argentina.
So then we got Spain and England. Who wins that?
Spain and England. Oh, wow. I don't know. I'm going to have to think about that. We'll have to be on your show again. You know that.
I know you will be. There's no question about that.
I got
the money I'm paying you, for God's sake.
That final first. If we get to that final, that number one means you don't have a repeat. And you have the chance then for England. The last time England won the World Cup was when?
1966.
Wow,
that's hard to believe.
and a gentleman by the name of Jeff Hurst scored a hat trick in the final.
We do know Argentina is the defending champion.
Yes.
We do know France, I think, is the overall favorite.
Absolutely.
You have gone opposite of both those teams.
Both of them.
Yeah. You're so bold. It must be the Virgin Islands courage that somehow you have.
Hey, Brad and Dave, I have the answer to that question. So as of mid-July, 15 coaches have been either fired or resigned from their national team.
So 15
and
of the 40.
Tunisia is the only team that fired a coach after the opening match.
Wow. So that's a third of the teams already have seen their coaches go, and there will be more. Matt O'Sullivan, as always, it's insightful and a pleasure. We will do this again next week to wrap it all up. Thank you, my friend.
I'll be talking. Take care, guys.
Right. Safe travels. That's our man. That is Matt O'Sullivan. We're going south of the border in just a little bit to talk to our guru on the U of M basketball team and a whole lot more. That's Jason Munz. He comes your way in just a minute.
Be sure to download our Hub 901 app for instant access to Sports 56 and all the Flynn broadcasting stations from anywhere. Go to the App Store and get the Hub 901 app today.
Unlock your new go-to spot, Codes Dispensary in Steele, Missouri, just over an hour from Memphis. When you're ready for a legal, reliable option, they're right up the road. Explore the full menu of top-shelf products in-store and online. Short on time? Order ahead and cruise through the drive-thru for a quick pickup. Stack rewards while you stock up with Club Codes. Earn points for every dollar spent. Codes Dispensary, now open in Steele, Missouri. Supreme cannabis that's worth the drive. Learn more at codesdispensary.com. That's codesdispensary.com.
Hello, I'm Ford Canale of Canale Funeral Directors. For more than a century, the Canale family has been honored to serve Memphis families during life's most difficult moments. In fact, Canale Funeral Directors is proud to be the oldest continually operating business in Memphis, built on a tradition of compassion, dignity, and personal service. When a family places their trust in us, we understand it's about much more than arrangements. It's about celebrating a life, honoring cherished memories, and providing comfort when it's needed most. Whether you're planning ahead or facing an immediate need, our experienced and caring staff is here to guide you every step of the way. From our family to yours, thank you for allowing us to serve generations of Memphis families with the respect and attention they deserve. Canale Funeral Directors, quietly caring since 1843.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2026 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Hey, Sid.
Yeah?
You know what's coming to the Peabody Hotel, right?
What's coming to the Peabody Hotel? You have got to tell me.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool and amazing.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
One of my favorite times of the week. We get to go south of the border, talk to our good friend Jason Munz. And let's start with good news, because there's good and some sad news today as well. Former Tiger basketball coach and a guy who took 5 different programs to NCAA tournament games, and a guy who coached 7 different schools, got into the Hall of Fame. We're talking about Tubby Smith, who was elected into the Hall. I know you wrote the story this morning, and I think it's a respect that is due, Mr. Smith. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. I mean, obviously, he's got a very he's not remembered in the best light around these parts, but notable nonetheless that he was here for 2 seasons and not all that long ago. Like it as I was, writing the story, it was like you know, I mean, obviously I knew this, and it's, you know, not a shock or a major thing, but like he was Penny's predecessor. Like he was not. It's not been all that long ago that he was the coach here, but yeah. So to be elected into the Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame for everything that he did. I guess other than what he did at Memphis. I mean, I think that's kind of, in a way, if you look at it in a certain way, like that's kind of the deal. It's like he got to that position for basically everything that he did apart from here and then I guess in the later years, High Point. But yeah, I mean, like I was looking at this yesterday. He made 16 out of 17 NCAA tournaments. There was a 17-year stretch where he made 16 NCAA. He took teams to 16 NCAA tournaments.
Well, he had good teams. I mean, although Georgia, you know, where he coached, that's not a perennial power. Let's be honest.
No, neither is Tulsa.
And neither is Tulsa. He did a great job at Tulsa. I mean, a great job. Let's just be honest about Tubby. First of all, let me say this. I'm biased because I think he's one of the great gentlemen that I've ever had to deal with as a coach. I've had a lot of great coaches. I really have. That I've been able to work with, whether it was doing ESPN work or doing the Tigers over the years. And Tubby, to me, was one of the classier guys. Tubby made a major mistake when he first got here, talking about how difficult times had changed. You can't recruit to Memphis anymore. And that was proven to be wrong by Penny Hardaway, who got the #1 recruiting class the first year he came here. So, you know, he made a mistake in that regard. And if we're going to talk about strengths and weaknesses, the guy was an unbelievable X's and O's coach. And I thought he was very good with the media. But the weakness he had, and this is why Kentucky fired him, was because he did not like recruiting. He was not a great recruiter. And I guess if we examine a guy who belongs, I've already said this, belongs in the hall, we all have our weaknesses, and that was his weakness, and he made the mistake. He had fans turn on him because he basically said you can't recruit Memphis, and that was wrong. And it put him on the wrong side of everybody, and that's why the tenure here was not good. But 7 different schools he coaches, 5 go to the NCAA, 642 wins. You know, you're talking about almost 60%, 62% winning percentage. Yeah. That's not chopped liver.
No, it isn't. And when you take into account the fact that, you know, I mentioned that earlier about 16 out of 17 NCAA tournaments, obviously super impressive. In his final 9 seasons as a coach across 3 different schools, Texas Tech, Memphis, and High Point, the final 9 seasons as a coach, he made 1 NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
So, you know, it seems like he had his success, and then once that was it seems like something, you know, either passed him by or, you know, something happened because there was a clear.
It was recruiting. I mean, he definitely had players because of the Kentucky system. He got a lot of players there.
But you can't take away all those wins.
No. And he deserves to be in. So that's the good story. The sad story is there was and I'm going to say young woman because I think she was in her mid-50s, Sonia Payne, who I know was a very dear friend of Penny Hardaway's, who was an educator. I don't know how many years she was in Memphis City schools, but probably 25, 30 somewhat odd years, who at the age, I think it's 55, just passed away suddenly this past weekend. And
very sad.
She was a super fan and a super person, and our condolences to her daughter in particular, her entire family. She was really, her name was Sonia, but I always called her or thought of her as Sunny Sonia because she always had a smile on her face, was very positive. I think she had just retired from working, and, you know, she's going to need the next 30 years to really enjoy life, and unfortunately, unexpectedly passed away.
Yeah, very, very sad. If you didn't know her name, you knew her face and her light. I mean, she lit up every room she was in. And yeah, she was a super fan. She was at, it felt like all the Tigers games, home and away. I mean, I know that I sat next to her on the plane a few times.
Yeah.
For road games, and just was incredibly kind and genuine and authentic, and definitely sad to get that news.
Yeah, I don't know if we mentioned her last name, Sonia Payne, and
yep.
Just a terrible loss for all of Memphis fandom and for her family, no question about that. You wrote an interesting story today, and I do believe this season is going to be different, and I think it's because there was construction of a roster that really was thought out, and you wrote about that today. I call it rebuild with purpose. Mm-hmm. Penny put this roster together a lot differently than the one he did last year.
He did. Yeah, it was the story that I wrote that published today is kind of like an extension or a continuation of some of the other stories that we've written over the summer, like going back to the personality test story where Penny, implemented this utilized this personality test to kind of almost as a screening process to make sure that he was getting the right kind of players, not just the right players, but the right kinds of players, right kind of people in place. And so this was kind of just a continuation of that, because I was like looking through my notes, because I talked to almost all of the players when they committed before they got on campus. I talked to most of them just about, just kind of interviewed them, just the course of a regular interview. And almost every single one of them mentioned that in the course of their conversations with Penny Hardaway during the quote unquote, recruiting process, for lack of a better term, they all said, almost all of them said that the first thing out of his mouth to them was how winning is the most important thing, and how they have to, like, how important this upcoming season is from a winning and losing standpoint. Like, yeah, we're gonna talk about the money, we're gonna talk about the role, we're gonna talk about our style of play and your style of play. We're gonna talk about all that. Before we talk about any of that, I want to make sure that we are on the same page from the jump, that winning is the most important thing. And I thought that was really important to highlight, because obviously, we're several months removed from the story that Penny was being retained, that he was like on thin ice more or less after the way last season went, that he was being retained by the University of Memphis as the coach. We've sort of kind of, I feel like, gotten away from that just because we're several months removed from it. But this was kind of a reminder that, like, hey, this season is really, really, really important from that standpoint. And I thought it was worth pointing out that not only is that message been clear and consistent from the administration and the athletic department to Penny Hardaway, but Penny Hardaway is making sure that message is being delivered to the players from the jump.
I do think he's the winning aspect. If you take a look last year at the guys that were brought in, many of them came, even though they had sort of names and stars attached to them, like Bradshaw and Davis.
Mm-hmm.
They were on losing programs.
Yeah. Yep, they were. And I think only Sincere Parker was the only player on last year's roster who had played an NCAA tournament game before. And they, like, Penny's had rosters like that before. A couple of years ago in 23-24, the David Jones, Javon Quinterly year, only Javon Quinterly and Caleb Mills were the only two players on that roster who had played in the NCAA tournament.
When Mills got hurt, that was really the end of that year too.
Well, and I should say Jordan Brown also was whether we consider him a part of the team.
Was he
or not.
really on the team?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's debatable as to whether or not we consider him a part of that team, but
right.
But no, it's Josh Holloway has been to the NCAA tournament, who's on this team. and I'm trying to go through the ones in my head. There are others, but
well, I know Reed, for instance, when he was at USF, that was a winning team.
Correct. They won a conference championship that year, or one of his 2 years there, and I'm blanking right now. But there are others who have experienced winning, and yeah, it seems as though as I sort of collected these interviews, that it is very, very important to not only. It was clear that it's clear that not only is winning important to Penny Hardaway, but it's also important to a lot of these players.
Let's talk about a critical part of this year's team. You can't say whether he's come from winning and losing. He was the league's one of the best players, so he had to be a winner, and that's Nemanja Popovic, the 6'8", 24-year-old. I'm trying to remember where he's originally from. I know he played in the Polish League. Serbia, thank you.
Yeah. And we're calling him 6 now. We're calling him 6'9" now. I talked to his coach from Poland, the head coach of the team that he played for in Poland, and I asked him exactly how tall is he, and he said 2.06 meters. And I Googled that, and it's pretty much exactly 6'9". So
okay, we'll take that. We'll take 6'9". Yeah. What's the status? The university is always delayed. They got to go through all the processes, and before they can post that he's signed, he's got to be cleared by the NCAA. Obviously, that has not happened yet. What's the status? What's the timetable? What's going on with Popovic and the NCAA eligibility?
Well, so obviously he's a complicated case because he's 24 years old. He'll be 25 in December. He's never played college ball before. He's played professionally basically for the last 8 years. So it's complicated, it's not just a cut and dry type eligibility situation. So basically he's here. I reported a week or so ago that he is on campus. He is practicing with the team, but yeah, like you mentioned, they have not announced him as a signee because basically what it boils down to is they don't want to announce him as an addition to the team before they get basically the NCAA seal of approval. That Memphis believes, and they are very confident that he is eligible to play college basketball this season, but at the risk of announcing that, and then the NCAA looks into it, and they're like, actually, no, we don't see it the way you see it, and the way we see it goes. They're gonna sort of do that on the front end, and they expect that the NCAA will give that seal of approval, and when they do, that's when they'll announce it, but there's no timetable on that. The NCAA operates on its own, to the beat of its own drum, timing wise, and so we'll see what happens. But they believe he will be eligible.
Well, it doesn't matter at this moment because he's still allowed to practice with the team. Jason Munz,
Correct.
As always, it is a pleasure. We will do this again next week.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. That is our man, Jason Munzie on the U of M. He's brought to you by Miramichi. I like that. Munzie, Miramichi kind of go together. They're both really good at what they do. Miramichi provides you with great golf. Miramichi provides you. Somebody else was saying this the other day. We were talking about Miramichi. I said it could be tough. You can go back 7,400 yards. He goes, but you know what? You got the best place to practice for tough golf. Really and truly, the practice facilities at Miramichi are as good or better than any country club in this town. I'm telling you, it is amazing how good it is. Huge driving range with a section for members only, and they keep it in really good shape. Then you've got the sand trap practice area. You got the pitching green practice area. You got the biggest putting green ever that I've seen. I mean, it's like 5, 6, 7 greens all combined in one. It's perfect. And then you've got this tournament type of track that can go back 7,400 yards, or you can play at under 6,000 yards like me, or way up if you're a woman competitor. They got AJGA competitions there, NCAA competitions there. They got this great clubhouse. They got a deck over 9 and 18. Best view in Shelby County, reasonably priced. It's a great experience, and it's not in Millington. It's in Woodstock. It's 25 minutes from my driveway in East Memphis. Go there. Tell them we sent you. You're going to love it. I promise you. It's the complete golf experience. It's Miramichi. The complete radio experience is Johnny Radio. That's John Harden and company. They come your way in just a minute. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone.